Right, what is going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel in this week's video. Today I'm going to be taking you through my current leg workout, quad workout, back with a walkthrough, talk through, informative style of video, giving you a step-by-step through my entire quad workout, whether that be exercise selection, exercise execution, sets, reps, tempo, any intensifiers I use, all that stuff is going to be covered in this video. If you are interested in learning about all this other stuff and having this implemented into your personal training, you can go back through my previous videos where I talk through all my different training days in my workout split, or you could get in contact with me, whether that be through email or through my Instagram. Both will be in the description below. Get in contact with me and become a part of my online coaching program, where all of this stuff will be outlined for you, talked through, walked through, put in your hand, ready for you to use so that you can achieve your goals, whether that be to improve your lifestyle or change your physique. But that is enough of that. That's not what you're here for. We're going to get into the video and absolutely destroy this, because I promise you this is the most savage leg day I've had ever. Okay, for exercise one, we're starting with leg extensions. As you can see, I've just put a 10 on the bottom peg and taking a 20 off the middle peg, which the person who was working in with me was also using. So what this does is the three pegs working this way, the top peg being the beginning range, the middle peg being the mid range, and the bottom peg being the end range. Leg extensions are one of the, if not the only, that can get that quad loaded in the shortened range, especially when you're using a piece of kit like this prime leg extension. Therefore, before we get into our heavy squatting and pressing movements, we want to challenge it in the shortened range, as well as getting blood into that muscle to prime us for those heavier movements. That is why I use the leg extension first, to prime, warm up the legs, ready to absolutely obliterate them with some heavy weights, but also getting that leg short. This is a new thing that I've implemented since my last leg day talk through video, and is one of the reasons that warranted me bringing another leg day video so close to the last one, as I truly believe this is something that will hugely impact and hugely improve your leg development. Pyramid style, high volume, 4 sets of 20 reps. As you can see, I started with 30 kilos, 20 and then 10. I then moved up to 40, 50 and then ended on 60. What I did is I kept a 2-to-1 ratio on the middle to bottom pegs, because although we want to get the shortened range of the movement loaded, we do not want all of it in that range, as the quad becomes significantly weaker, and we do actually want to squeeze that rep, hold that contraction in the shortened range. And if we load it too much, we're going to have to drop out of it, and we will not be strong enough to truly work the muscle in that range. And as you can tell, as it comes to execution, although we are challenging that shortened range and the focus is on squeezing at the top of the movement, we are keeping in control of that negative. We're not letting the weight control us, fighting that losing battle on the way down, spending a little bit of time in that length and range, in the changes of direction, as I've mentioned before in previous videos. Mastering the changes of direction is only going to improve your training. So little pause, slight pause to remove any momentum and bounce out of the bottom of the movement, controlling the length and range, and then shoot up and squeeze at the top of the movement to work the shortened range. There's no point loading the bottom peg if you're just going to bounce to the top and drop straight back down again, as it defeats the whole purpose of the range loading. Moving into barbell squats. This is where I like to move some weight, but I still maintain purpose and I still maintain control and keep a good tempo throughout the movement. So 5 sets by 10, starting with 60, and as you'll see me pyramiding up to 60, 100, 120, 135 and then 165 for my top set. As you can see, I'm not just dropping into that hole and catching it with my hips and my knees, controlling down and keeping constant tension on my quads. I'm not standing at the top of the movement for 5 minutes between each rep, although as the weight gets heavier, when I get to my 135 set here, I stop a little bit for the last couple reps, and then on the 165, I take a brief pause at the top of the movement just to maintain safety. So I'll come up, I'll make sure my legs are tight so I'm not jittering about. I'll take a deep breath, I'll push into my belt, I'll brace my core so that my back doesn't fold in half, and we'll go again. So it's up, breath, go. The first couple of reps I can keep constant, but a little bit of time spent at the top is a safer trade-off than forcing yourself to keep constant when you're not ready, you're not braced, and you're not safe, because this will cause injury. I did not progress this movement. I matched my 8 reps with the 165s from last week. But this is the whole point of a progressive overload style of training. Although I am programmed 5 sets of 10, I do not want to be hitting that 10th rep on my top set every week with ease and not go to true failure, as my muscles are not being pushed to that point where they need to adapt and grow to become stronger, to become bigger. So getting that 8 reps and then pushing for that 9th rep next week, and then to that 10th rep, and then moving up the weight, just taking those incremental steps, those small achievements, hitting those small targets and goals will be a better and more effective way of reaching your overall goal. So challenge yourself, make those small changes, make those small adaptations. favourite machine, my favourite exercise. As you can see, I've reverse banded it for my old man knees. That does not give me license to drop down into the hole with no regard. I'm still keeping control, still keeping constant tension at the top of the movement, keeping it continuous. I've opted for a narrower feet stance on this. My advice to anyone training, start with whatever feels comfortable. Do not force yourself to come narrow, as you will hurt yourself. Your knees will not like you, your hips may not agree with that foot placement. Once you have got accustomed to training on the hack, if like me, I'm trying to make my overall sweep develop as so I've done my 2 heavy squat movements. My heavy squat on the barbell is with a wider stance, as I feel more comfortable in a wider stance squatting. And although this is fine, it's going to work my entire quad. Having a wider foot stance is going to do the vastus medialis, which is the inner sweep of the quad, the teardrop as per se. Therefore, I've opted for a narrower stance on the hack squat. I'm a comfortable presser in narrow. I like to deadlift more narrow. I like to leg press more narrow. But regardless, narrower to get that, to put more tension on the lateralis, on that sweep. Working up again in a 5x10. I say this, but this top set is absolutely savage. As you can see, although there is a lot of weight and I'm struggling, I'm still keeping my reps constant and continuous. Big breath and brace at the top. Sorry about that for your ears, I imagine that's quite loud. Controlling it down, pushing myself out of that hole, brace and go again. I'm not spending 5 minutes at the top, and I'm not using too much momentum at the bottom, although I've got the band that is going to do that for me regardless. A good tip is to have a training partner that will help you push past this, because after 10 reps I was done, but I did another 3 reps. I had him put his finger out in front of me to do that last rep, and oh my god, I was like, yes, I'll do it, okay, but I thought I was going to pass out. As you can see, when I rack it, I didn't know where I was for a few seconds. In all honesty, I thought I only got 11 reps. I posted this on my Instagram a few days ago and I put 11 reps, and when I checked back I got 13. I was still unsure of myself 4 or 5 hours after doing it. Next, we've got the leg press. As you can see, I am banded on this. This was the person I was training with, Will. This was his equipment, which I have never used before. It is great. If you have all this equipment, do it. If you don't worry about it. I'm not going to buy it and use it, but if the funds allow, it's definitely worth it. Just a quick explanation to why is this done this way. The leg press is hardest at the bottom of the movement where the quad is lengthened, and it gets easier as you press up into the shortened range. Therefore, by banding it this way, you're going to make the exercise harder as the band's resistance grows as you do the rep, but the actual resistance profile of the exercise itself gets less. So that means they counteract and they balance each other out to make it a smoother transition through the phases, through the lengthened, mid to shortened range, rather than it being a proper struggle at the bottom and then you can fly out of it again. Do not do that, by the way, unless you want your knees to fold in backwards. My setup for this is 2 sets. I do a couple of warm-ups, feeders. My quads are incredibly warm. I've just done heavy barbell squats and heavy hack squats, so realistically I could slap on my top set and go straight away, but just for a peace of mind and to cover all areas to make sure that I'm not going to injure myself, I'll slap on 2 plates and do a couple of reps, slap on 4 plates, do a couple of reps, and if I was to go to 10 plates I'd do that with 6, maybe 9 and go for the 10. But I've been struggling with a bit of paralysis by overanalysis, which is basically fancy way of saying I've been overthinking the leg press, so I moved over to the hip press to get away from that for a while and reset. Now I'm back on this and I'm back with a bang, because I was not sure about this 5.5 plates and I absolutely smashed it. As you can see from the video, I've got 21 reps in a 10 to 15 rep range. But as you can see, heels pushed against the pad, arms locked into the grips, pulling myself down so that my bum does not fly off the pad, my lower back does not round, and the tension is completely being driven through my quad. But I'm taking a small pause in the length and range where a lot of the work is being done, making sure to come back and create as much knee flexion as I can. I'm not doing those quarter reps. Do not do those quarter reps. Drop the weight, do the reps properly, because you're going to get bigger. You'll get bigger doing reps properly with 2 plates than you do doing those silly reps with 10 plates, I promise you. So slight pause, coming back, making the calf touch the hamstring, knees almost in your mouth, and then go. Do not spend 5 years at the top. You can rest if you're going to die, like I said with barbell squat. Just try and keep as many as you can consistent and grind out those last couple of reps. Then we move on to the most brutal thing you will ever do in your life if you copy this. I am programmed a 30 rep rest pause, not a time rest pause, a rep control rest pause. So I'll do as many reps as I can, take 15 seconds, and I'll do that as many times as I need until I hit those 30 reps. I massively undershot this. You want to be getting up 12 to 15 reps on your first one and then grind out those 15 over another 3 to 4 stages. I got 22, as this is only second time back on the leg press, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing it properly and I didn't die and suffer by the overanalysis part. So I got 22 and then I grind out a couple of more reps. I think I got 6 and 5 and ended up with 31 reps in total. Then that is me done. But what I have done is I've taken off the plate and gone again. As you can see on these drop set reps, my tempo has got a bit faster, but although I'm going a bit faster down, I'm not doing a 3-second negative like I was on the top set. I'm not throwing down and catching my hips and my knees, because this will obviously cause injury, but in terms of training effectiveness. You're taking tension off the quads. You're training your quads. You want as much tension and time under tension as possible. But I'm just grinding out these reps, pumping them out. 4 plates, 3 plates, and now 2 plates for that final set of 20 I think I got here. I think it was a 72 rep drop set, rest pause, massive giant. We're gonna call it a JDH set. I'm coining this term. This is my intensifier. I haven't seen anyone else do this, so I'm coining it. We're gonna call it a JDH set. And when I'm a pro bodybuilder and people are gonna start using the JDH sets, you just wait. But that is that. After this, 4 exercises, 1 extension as to warm up, 2 presses to batter the quads and get yourself under load, and then a leg press for the massive top up in volume. If I wasn't high volume already, I definitely was with that set alone. We finish off with adductors. I've worked the quad muscle. I focused on the medialis in the squats, focused on the lateralis in the hack squat, and I've worked the intermedialis and the rec fem in all of the movements. As like I said, you're not going to just work one area of the muscle by doing wide or narrower stance, but you can shift the focus a little bit by doing these different execution techniques. However, I've worked all 4 parts of the quad. If you didn't know, the clue is in the name. It's called a quadricep, and there is 4. Quad 4 muscles in the quad. Sorry, I probably spoke over most of the adductors. I did 4 by 20 with that top set, not quite hitting the 20 mark, but we went straight into a triple drop. So we did 65, 55, 45 in terms of the weight. As many as you can, as you do on a drop set, you do an AMRAP for all 3 stages, and that completely finished me off. Adductors, just that bit inside, in the inside of your leg. If you develop big adductors, it is only going to emphasize the illusion of a bigger quad. Not only this, it's going to support you a lot in your heavier movements, so the heavier leg presses if you are so inclined to do it that way, and definitely the heavier squats. Your squat performance will definitely improve, especially when you turn your toes out and go a little bit wider, as I do. When the weight becomes a bit heavier and you can't keep it all in your quads, the adductor is going to help massively for this. So those that are so inclined to improve their strength, definitely work on your adductors to complement your squat performance. Right, so that is it. That is going to end the video for this week. If you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, click that notification bell next to the subscribe button so you do not miss when I upload. The plan is always 6 PM on a Wednesday. Sometimes varies from this, but very much so consistent. It's definitely my best quad session that I've ever had, and I hope this has come across well in the footage. I think so. I think it has. I watched it back before making the video and obviously watched it through as I talked through this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you have found any of these exercises helpful, any of these tips, execution techniques, intensifiers, especially the JDH set. Let me know in the comments down below if you've done the JDH set. You may hate me the couple of days after when you are struggling to walk, but you will love me if you consistently keep doing them in 6 months' time when you have the biggest legs in your gym. Before I go, check all the links in the description below. I always detail a few things down there, such as my Instagram if you want to follow me on there, daily content, stories, posts, so you can get to see a bit more about me, a bit more about my life and my training between videos on the YouTube. My email if you want to get in touch with me about online coaching, if you want to join my program. You can also do this through Instagram as well if you feel more comfortable doing it that way. I have all my links down below for my protein. If you want to shop my protein, you click the links down below. You've got the clothing and the supplements. Use the respective codes which will be next to the links. The link will help me. I get a bit of commission off your purchases, help to fund this very expensive bodybuilding journey, and use the code to help you make some massive savings on some already massive value products. I also leave a few things down below, like my full day of eating, my current full day of eating, my current supplements. If you are unsure of those things, you can also shoot me a message if you want to know what I use, but they are on both of those respective videos, as well as my previous video. Of course, check out the old stuff and see if you like the content before you subscribe. But yeah, that is it for this week, and I'll catch you all next week. I'm out.